Hello, this is Joey Adams, and today I'll be talking to you about a faith known as the Seventh-day Adventist. To really understand this faith, you really have to understand the Millerite roots that came with it. The Millerites started in about 1831. It was a Baptist preacher named William Miller. He was one of these Roman preachers, and he was convinced that the second advent, or the second coming of Jesus, would happen in March of 1843 to March of 1844. He said sometime in between that area, Jesus would come back. And he got this from the way he read Daniel 8:14. Needless to say, his prophecy didn't come true. This left a lot of people dismayed. Folks of many different backgrounds followed him. Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, and everything in between. They followed him, they trusted him, and when his prophecy didn't be fulfilled, they didn't know where to turn. However, some of these people, instead of just breaking off their faith altogether, like many did, some started a church of their own called the Seventh-day Adventist. They felt that Miller was on to something, but he was just off a little bit. One of the key leaders in this movement was named Hiram Edson, and he was really big on making this church work. When we were having the reform movements of the Second Awakening, the Seventh-day Adventists was there as well, pushing many reforms of their own. One of the biggest pushes was for health reform, and one of the biggest people involved in this was named William Keith Kellogg. This is the same Kellogg's that founded the company that makes cereal. The Seventh-day Adventists are also big in schools. They have schools and hospitals, not just in America, but around the world, trying to teach people. And when it comes to teaching in general, they have the largest school system of any religion in America besides Roman Catholics. Something else to note about Seventh-day Adventists, and this is something that many people love to bring up, their Sabbath or their holy day is on Saturday. And sometimes this brings controversy because they feel that people who hold the Sabbath on Sunday discriminate against them. For example, think of Chick-fil-A. They closed on Sunday for religious reasons. But if a person is a Seventh-day Adventist, they're saying, hey, that's not the real day of rest or what have you. And so this has caused issues in the past. The last note I will speak about when talking about Seventh-day Adventists are their strictly non-violent ways. When it comes to war, they are known as conscientious objectors. But that doesn't mean that they were not willing to put their lives in danger to help America. Many would go be medics and do other things like that, but they just couldn't take lives due to their beliefs. And also to tie back in with the health thing we talked about earlier, in 1954, many Seventh-day Adventists volunteered for what's known as Operation White Coat. This is when the U.S. military would test pathogens and antidotes to those pathogens on volunteers. And these people lined up, putting their body at risk just so they can volunteer. So when I say conscientious objector, many times people think, oh, they're just draft dodging and all this stuff, but that's not really the case. They just couldn't, due to their faith, they just couldn't do much of the violence that was called for. But yet, they did risk their lives to help our country. So that's something that's very good about them. There are many Seventh-day Adventists that are making waves even to this day. Uh, Dr. Ben Carson is an example of a Seventh-day Adventist pushing politics. Then we have people like Magic Johnson, who's a Seventh-day Adventist. And the late but great Prince was also a part of this faith.